I want to welcome you to Baker Forward. My guest today is Councilman Robert Young. Councilman Young is in District 4, and appreciate you and thank you for being on the show.
Thank you, man. Appreciate you.
You want to kind of tell the viewers what encompasses District 4? What area of Baker?
Yes, sir. Well, what encompasses District 4 is the north side of Broom Road near Jefferson, the community of Buffwood on the south side of Buffwood, which is the adjacent to Groom Road. Adjacent to Levy Lane, and then the east side of Baker, out near Heritage Court, in that area right there.
Mm-hmm. How long have you been in Baker?
I've been in Baker now. This is going to 18 years. You know, that's me and my wife came. Me and my family came Baker 18 years ago.
And what made you want to get in politics? And you know, why did you get in? I mean, because you know, we get beat up pretty good.
Yes, sir, we do. Yes, sir, we do. Well, what really, I've never been involved in politics before, but I've always been serving people. I always wanted to serve people, you know. And when it was thrown at me, you know, I've been in Baker, and I, you know, pretty much get along with all my neighbors, and a lot of things that I did was political anyway, because I know people everywhere. So, you know, after I sit down, I had a long talk with my family, and then talked to my pastor, of course, you know, and he said move forward. So here I am.
Well, that's great. I mean, I'm looking forward to working with you and the rest of the council. But how has it been so far? I mean, what's your impression of, do you find things move a little slow or slower than what you anticipated?
Yes, sir. Well, it's been a challenge. You know, but I always approach things with understanding that Rome wasn't built in a day. So, you know, it's been fun. I experienced a lot of things, you know, that kind of readily, you know, for instance, you know, we helped out a lot. We had since I've been we had a tornado that came and hit Baker. We also had the hurricane. And I experienced the point of sandbagging. You know, a lot of people welcome that, you know, because, you know, I feel like that's part of my job, you know, to really get out there and help the ones that can't get the sandbags in, and, you know, I really enjoyed it, you know.
A lot of people don't know what goes on behind the scenes for a tornado or hurricane, and you had as a newly elected councilman, you after what 2 months I think, then you got to experience that. What was your impression, and what do you think we can do to, if anything, to improve on what we do to meet the needs of the citizens during such an emergency?
Well, really, I was overwhelmed, you know, when that happened, as soon as it did. But I really was excited to see that the communication, the involvement with, you know, as far as the police department, the fire department, it just seemed like everybody was just on one accord, and everything just gelled out perfectly, you know. And I never experienced that from an emergency standpoint, you know. And really, probably about 4 years ago or 5 years ago, maybe longer, I never would have thought that Baker was that ready or that experienced in, you know, that type of, you know, catastrophe.
We've got some experience. We've had 5 hurricanes, a tornado, and ice storm. So, and I want to give the employees, goes the fire department, the police department, and our public works department. Those folks get out and do what we need to do, and we respond immediately to the needs of the community and trying to make those needs. We actually had firemen that were out putting tarps on roofs after Gustav and after the tornado, trying to help people and keep the water out of their houses.
Right, because it was quite a few that called in my district that was elderly, you know, was immobile, that the fire department was got right on, I mean, just took it out there, no hesitation. So the encouraging thing that I could do is always, you know, encourage our citizens that whenever it's a catastrophe, you know, always keep your emergency numbers handy. You know, that's going to be the first things you want to do, you know, so we're all on the card with that.
And I know your heart. I mean, you have a heart for people. I've seen that, I experienced that. You want to help people, and you want to do and see Baker move forward. what was your political? You had any previous political background?
No, no political background at all. Matter of fact, you know, everyone's excited. You know, once I did win, because on my mom's side is no one's in government on my dad's side. So I kind of like made history on both sides of my family. You know?
Right, that's great. And the Councilman District 4 resigned early, and you were able to come in, I think, a couple months early and kind of work with the other council before we actually had the swearing in July 1
yes,
of 2012. Is there anything else you want to mention?
No, I'm enjoying it. You know, as everyone can see, they can see my email address and also my phone number. So, you know, if any concerns that, you know, that's in my district, you know, that I need to be aware of, because I'm here to serve you. So please feel free to contact me.
I know there was a number of projects that you brought up, and when we are doing that, that's going to be part of the capital outlay, some street overlay. Of course, with the cost of asphalt and stuff, it doesn't go very far, but we're going to try to get that going, that capital outlay project in the next budget. And also, you mentioned some things about erosions in the ditches and things.
So. Canals, yes, sir.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I do understand Rome wasn't built in a day, so.
Yeah, and it's, you know, erosion is anytime, the idea of a ditch is the water to flow. And to water flows, guess what? It's going to erode. So
right.
we have to just try to work with that and try to get it taken care of. And you know, it's you know, as the mayor, you know, we have to work. I have to work with y'all. But you know, I want to say this not only to you, but to all the councilmen. Feel free to come in the office and sit down and if you have any questions, let's develop good communication between us and not feel that we have to wait till the council meeting to discuss stuff.
Sound like a winner.
And appreciate having you.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you so much.
Thank you very much, Mayor.
Bye-bye.
WLFT joins all TV stations in our area, reminding you to rescan your digital TV sets so you can pick up all of the new TV stations, which are broadcast free over the air. Hey, you bought the new high-definition TV, so now enjoy the free over-the-air entertainment like the new Country Channel on 30.3, featuring 24-hour music videos and concerts direct from Nashville. More new channels are planned, so change the batteries in your smoke detector and rescan Baton Rouge.
Welcome back to Baker Forward. My next guest is Ken Fobbs. Ken is the city attorney, and happy to have you on the show, Ken. But Ken not only a city attorney, he's also works with the as a city attorney, he's over the legal department, and so he's over the prosecutor's office. So yes, he's mentoring to a young man, Christopher Donson, and over in the prosecutor's office. And so we appreciate you, Ken. But Ken also works in West Baton Rouge for Ricky Ward over there in that office, in the prosecutor's office over there. And he's also has a ministry, Papa Pig. So Ken is quite busy, and will just tell us about some of the things that you have going as the legal person over the legal department for the city.
Well, again, it's an honor to be here today, Mayor. Honored to be a resident of the city of Baker, my wife and I. But I must say, you're the reason that I'm in Baker. I've always had a connection with Baker from my college days, law school days. I attended church here back in the day, back in those days, right down the street at Bethany. But now I've been a resident of Baker for the last 8 years, going on 10 years, and it's because of you. When you were elected, I think I met you once during your first campaign, and for some reason you saw me at a car wash, and asked me, could I serve as your prosecutor? And you made clear that it would have to be a labor of love for the most part, because it didn't pay much. But
that's true.
I didn't think I could do it because I had already been doing some misdemeanor work. I prosecute first and second offense DWIs for Ricky Ward, the DA, and ATJDC, and I've been doing that for about a year when you asked me to come on board. So I initially said, no, I don't think we can do that because it's a conflict, but it's not, because they're two separate entities. You had somebody research it or whatever. But it's been a pleasure. Since I've been here with you, through the help of the council, we were able to pass what's called the PreTrial Diversion program.
Yeah, you want to tell us how that worked, because a lot of people don't know about it. And if you get in a situation, you can go through the PreTrial Diversion program if you qualify, and this is will help you, and even actually keep it off your record.
Yeah, in some situations. In a nutshell, what it is, basically, we have limited jurisdiction in the city of Baker with the city court. In other words, we prosecute traffic citations and misdemeanors. All felonies will go downtown to the district attorney's office, Hill and Moore's office. But technically what you have is, say for instance, you have a person who's got a speeding ticket. They've got a clean record, they made a mistake, we all do it. And if they require help, or if I get a call from one of the council persons or whatever, seeing if it's a hardship case or whatever. So we decided to establish that. What happens is we'll have certain requirements, they'll still be held accountable. And once they take care of whatever the nominal fee is, and they stay out of trouble for like 6 months or whatever, then it will be basically not prosecuted and all pros taken off their record. So at the same time, they're being held accountable. In many instances, most instances, there's still some revenue coming into the city's coffer, but it stays off the person's record, which is very helpful because it can impact your insurance. If it's a crime of violence like domestic abuse, then we're going to consider that as well if you have a clean record, but we're going to require certain counseling and things of that nature.
And require them to go to some kind of class, right?
Absolutely. And so we have that being done. Those funds are not necessarily managed by my office directly. I had the ordinance indicate specifically that I did not want a specific prosecutor's account for those funds. They go into the city's coffers, they're earmarked for the PreTrial Diversion program, and at the end of the fiscal year, whatever is not used by my office goes into the general fund of the city. So it's been a good thing, and we've been working.
And that generally generates over $100,000, am I correct?
That's usually the goal, anywhere between 80 and 100.
Right.
And it helps to take care of the needs of the office, because Baker is growing, and the dockets are bigger. And of course, we have limited resources there, so that helps. The city doesn't have to bear most of our burden.
Ken, you want to tell us something about your ministry? I know, and I met you, and I've been to some retreats that you give up in the what is Feliciana's up in Mississippi. And certainly enjoyed them. They're silent retreats, so you know, as a politician, you can't get up there and talk. You got to be quiet. You got to talk silently to God and work with Him. And I know I've enjoyed those, and I'm looking forward to the one that I know you're going to have this year.
Right. Well, I know we're limited on time, so let me just say the best way to find me and really find out about that particular, it's not a church. I am a licensed ordained minister, but I don't pastor a church. I've not been given that assignment by the Lord. You know, because I really pray for a lot of pastors. You know, you have to have, grace to do that. But we help ministries, we help servant leaders, and so if you go to papapick.org, that's P as in Paul, O as in Oscar, P as in Paul, A as in Alpha, P as in Paul, I as in ink, C as in Christ. That's papapick without the K.org. Then you can read up on everything that we've done in the past and what we do as far as support ministries. And finally, as a part of Papa Pick, we'll be launching a show actually on this network called Calling to Know God, where it'll be a live-in call-in from the community. Call with your secular questions, whatever you may have. And we'll have myself and 2 or 3 other men who will either be pastors, they may not be pastors, but they will be lovers of the Bible, and we'll try and give you a biblical answer to whatever your issues are. So we're looking forward to that as well. Yes, sir. But I enjoy serving the city of Baker, serving the administration, you mayor, the council, and primarily the citizens, and whatever I can do, let us know, you know.
And what a lot of people don't realize as an elected official, even as an appointed official in the city, we're servants, and our whole goal is to serve the citizens
Yes,
of Baker and work to try to make Baker better. And we are focusing on education, trying to work with the school board to make education even better, and working with those in the churches. We just recently had it was Councilwoman Burgess and Councilman Heine headed a committee, and the pastors met last Saturday, and just kind of get to know each other and trying to work to see what we can do as a community to help improve. And I want to thank you for being on the show, and you know, I've enjoyed working with you, and we have the same heart. We have a heart for people.
Yes, sir.
So thank you very
God
much.
bless you. It's an honor.
Hey, Baton Rouge and surrounding areas. It's your friend Jay, and I'ma tell you true. If you want the best crawfish in town, you have got to go by the Crawfish Crib, located at 7869 Greenwell Springs Road and 9836 Florida Boulevard. Holler at Henry and ask him to hook you up with that Gold Rush garlic butter sauce on your crawfish and your crab legs, y'all. It's good. Have a good time.
Well, welcome back to Baker Forward. My next guest is Representative Dalton Honorary, District 63. Representative Honorary, thank you for being on the show. You know, I don't envy you guys. Here you're going into a session. We're seeing deficits and shortfalls everywhere, not just at the state, at the national level, even in the city of Baker. And you know, you guys have a tough job. You want to just tell us about some of the things that y'all are doing and preparing for this session?
Well, Mayor, you know, last year we had a $1.6 billion deficit. We're going back in this year, and session starts on April 8th. We're going back in with more than $1 billion worth of deficit. The governor is proposing some tax measures to refine Louisiana tax, how we used to doing it. But it's a situation today that we don't know exactly where we stand on the tax situation, because it has not been developed totally, and it's a process we go through, and it's always been my philosophy that's what's good for my district first, and realizing I vote when I vote, it affects people all over the state, but my district comes first, and as we talk about tax issues today, we know we're going into the new fiscal year with a deficit of $1 billion+.
Mm-hmm. And District 63 encompasses most of Baker, so you are my representative, and you're the person that's our contact between you know, local government and state government, and I want to tell you, I appreciate you. I appreciate what you do. And I know we're working on a number of things that you're helping us with Baton Rouge Community College, and that is work development for us. And we're going to bring that to North Baton Rouge, and we're looking at training electricians, machinists, millwright, welding, CDL license, heavy equipment. And what we want to do is you have a heart for education. And I know we want to make sure when these young people graduate from high school, they've got a job.
Well, Mayor, you mentioned Baker. I represent Baker. My boundaries, northern boundary, is Highway 64 in Zachary, and I represent from Highway 64 south to Airline Highway. My western boundary is the Mississippi River, so you know we are in an industrial corridor. But I do represent all of Baker, half of Zachary, and part of North Baton Rouge. We talk about jobs in this district, and me as a former educator, I'm for education. I'm 100% for education, and I also look at the education requirements. You know, you do not have to have a college degree to be successful in life. I one time taught vocational education. But the jobs that's coming to North Baton Rouge and primarily in the Baker area, and when I say in the Baker area, we're talking about Thomas Road North, Blunt Road North. And just recently, since I've been in office, this year, in the last 6 months, we've announced over $300 million for this district, and over 350 jobs, permanent jobs. We announced just last week a $175 million project that's coming to Thomas Road and US 61, which is Scenic Highway. That should be one of the largest warehouses in the state of Louisiana. That will employ 210 people. Just south of that, south between Thomas and Blunt, Genesis Energy will construct a facility over there that will be 50 permanent jobs. And on Blunt Road, on the airport property, and I'm also a member of the Airport Commission, we got 2,000 acres there. The northern part of the airport property is being developed into an automobile auction, which will employ, when completed, 100 persons. So we're talking about 350 plus permanent jobs and over $300 million worth of investment, which is good, clean industry. We're not including any polluting type industry in this area. And having lived and worked in this area all my life, I think people know I got a background in law enforcement, having retired from law enforcement with more than 30 years. The type of industry that we out seeking is clean industry, and I spent more than 4 years in industry in this particular area on which I represent today. Baker is in the process now of starting some programs, some training programs and vocational programs. And I'm in accord with all of that, and that's one of my philosophies. We've got to get people trained to do good jobs, it's good employment, and we're doing that. And I represent Baker, and I represent Baker 100% because my son was a graduate of Baker High School, and I got my ties to Baker. When the interstate came through Scotlandville, a lot of persons moved from Scotlandville to Baker, so I got a lot of ties with Baker, and I represent this area well, I think.
You know, and you talk about jobs, that's certainly important. And I know we talked about workforce development, but working with Stubb Corporation, Don Bohatch, and with that company, to try to make sure that we have personnel that when we have the baby boomers, and I guess I'm part of the baby boomers. We're getting to a time when we're retiring. So we have to have new people coming on board. But not only we're going to bring these people on, get them trained, but also when you have these good jobs paying 60, 50, 60,000, there's a spin-off from that, because that one job creates a lot of other jobs, service jobs, support jobs. So, you know, thank you, and we really appreciate your efforts in bringing these jobs to the community.
Well, Mayor, again, I appreciate the opportunity to come and visit Baker. I work at this job full time. Anytime you need me to come to Baker, and I'm in Baker every day, just call. I'm your full-time state representative. And you are. You're certainly accessible. I've yet to call you and you not answer your phone or call me right back, and I can appreciate that. Thank you, Mayor, and I've enjoyed it. I've enjoyed the interview.
Thank you. Appreciate having you.